Hey friends, welcome back to the Wells and Wood Workshop. Doesn't look like it, but we are really close to reclaiming that workbench. For 2 weeks, 3 weeks, we've been talking about doing that, and I'm really close. I got a few more things put away yesterday, and I got a plan to get that workbench cleared off today. Most of it hinges on getting this table saw raised to bench height. Now I'm going to use the bench as an outfeed table, so I need to raise the saw up so that it's the same height, or a little bit higher. Actually, I want it a little bit taller than the bench, so that as I'm ripping and the wood droops, it won't bottom out on my tables or on my outfeed table. It'll clear the lip, and we can just push on through. The other day I was at my hardware store getting a board ripped. It was paneling for the beadboard paneling for the screen door, and I just had them cut that into 4.5 foot squares for me. And as he was pushing through, it dripped and it caught the lip of the outfeed table, and it stalled the cut. I had to walk around there, raise it up a little bit, and then he could continue the cut. If that had been a hardwood, 3/4 inch hardwood plywood, it would have burned. The saw would have stalled out there on that. The blade would have continued, but the cut stalled, so it would have probably left a burn mark on that wood, and you don't want that. So with plywood, you probably cover it. But if you're ripping a long board down to size and it burns, you're gonna have to fix it somehow. Sand it, plane it, run it through your joint or something to cut that off. And if you can avoid doing those things, it's always best to avoid those things. Besides that, it's kind of a dangerous situation whenever you're working by yourself and a board stalls. You got to decide what to do. Typically, I just pull it back and walk around there and try to get it fixed. But if you can avoid any of those situations, it's best. So what we're going to do is raise this table saw up to about 1/4 or maybe 3/8 inch higher than the bench height. Now I've got it already sitting on my base, and I'm going to lay this down. This is the shelf, the top. It's the same thickness as the top. It's a little bit smaller. I thought it was going to be big enough, but I made that base way bigger than what this will support. So I'm going to set this on here, line it up against the bench, and I'm getting about 20 5/8. So 20 5/8 plus 3/8 is 21. I may go ahead and bump that up to 22 so that I can set the shelf down just a little bit below inside the frame a little bit, instead of it being on top. I think I want it, instead of trying to screw it down, I think I'll hold it down inside the frame a little bit. So I think we're going to go with 22 inch legs on this. It's always better to go a little bit longer and trim back if we need to. If this plan doesn't work, I'll trim it back, or we'll make it work. I don't want to be too short. That's the big thing. Too long you can deal with. You can hide and adjust, but too short, where you can't stretch a board. You can throw water on it, but it ain't gonna grow. So I'm gonna go ahead and start doing some measuring and some cutting, and I'll be back here in just a minute, and we'll work on putting this thing together. All right, friends, we're back. I just cut the legs. I cut 4 legs. But I've used 2 2x4s for each leg. What I did, here, I'll just show you. What I did was I made an L. Leg. Now this is probably overkill on 2 fronts. One, the L, you may or may not need the L, but definitely 2x4s. I probably could have used, I probably should have used, actually, if I had them, I would have used 1x4s. I've got some 1x stock laying around here, but I didn't feel like ripping it and making a big old, it wasn't worth it. I didn't want to ruin a bunch of 1x12s to make 1x4s. That's basically what it was. I considered it. Last night when I got home, when I was thinking about this project, I honestly did consider doing it. Then I just skipped it because I didn't want to waste the material. I had the 2x4s. They're cheap. So it is overkill, but it's not hurting anything. I also took the opportunity, I need all 8 of these to be the exact same size. So I set up a stop block. It's pretty crude. I just took a piece of plywood and I clamped it down here. I made the first cut. I measured it at 22. I made the first cut and then I set it in here. I'm gonna close that door so I can see the screen. It's gonna get a little bit darker in here, but I can see better what I'm trying to show you. So I measured the first one at 22 and I cut it at 22 inches. Then I set the board, then I closed my saw, I locked it down, set the board, set my cut leg in here, and then measured my stop block, set my stop block true against it. And I had, now it's wiggled a little bit. I don't know what moved. But all my legs are the exact same length this way instead of trying to measure them and duplicate a measurement. I never duplicate measurements if I don't have to. I set up stop blocks, I make jigs. If I'm cutting something that's 3.5 inches, I just set a 2x4 or 1x4 in there. I measure it, make sure it's right, but I don't measure as much as I don't have to. As much as I can skip measuring, I don't measure. I use, like I said, I use jigs. I use stop blocks. I use anything that I can do to not mess up a measurement, especially on duplicate cuts like this. So 2x4 in the L is overkill. The 1x4 would have been sufficient. I did not glue them. Glue is never a bad idea. I just didn't want to go, I didn't use the extra step. I didn't take the time. All right, friends, welcome back. We didn't get it done today. We didn't quite get it done. Take my safety glasses off so I can see better. We gave it the try. We gave it the old college try, and sometimes things just don't work out. It's all right to struggle. But you remember that. It's all right to struggle. Just make sure you're struggling forward. Struggle progress. Make progress while you're struggling. The bench, still a mess. Still a mess. It happens. I did get the table done. I'm going to see if I can set you down where you can see.
That's not it. You'll be able to see that table. Scoop something here. Oh, that's a little better. That's better. Yeah, you can see that. Okay, I'm going to find me a small shop vac, I believe, to go underneath here to, as dust collection for this table saw. Table saws create a huge amount of dust.
All right, there we go. It's good work height. Feels sturdy enough. I'm going to bolt it down tomorrow. I'll probably bolt that down. Got to find out how with this weird thing. It probably won't go anywhere, but better be safe than sorry. So we'll figure out a way to bolt this thing down. Maybe spin it. If it's 30 by 30, it's pretty square, so I can rearrange it a little bit. Probably a little higher than I wanted it to be on the outfeed. It's a little bit higher than what I want on my outfeed. It's what we got done today. It did not get where I wanted it to be, but it's all right. I don't care. We'll figure it out. We'll make it work, or we'll fix it. 'Cause that's what we do. That's what we do here. So, all right, friends. I got to get ready for work. I got to get out of here so I can go pay the bills. But before we leave? Won't you be nice? Won't you be kind to people? Lift somebody up? Sneak up on somebody. Do something nice for them. Call your dad. He misses you too. Bye.